I'm Will Joyce. I work on the music program here. I used to do some gigs years ago, and then I went to college and did arts management. And then when I was finished that, the Joinery were looking for someone to help out with the music program. So I started here about 2 years ago, and been here since.
My name is Miranda Driscoll. I run the Joinery. I set it up along with Fergal Ward in 2008, early 2008, I think. Yeah, my background is photography. I'm a photographer, so I went to art college and I studied photography, but I never run an art space before or worked in a gallery. So, to be honest, the place, I mean, we might have chatted about this before, but the place kind of started in a very kind of ad hoc way, in the sense that it wasn't really planned. It was more, Fergal and I were looking for a kind of place to work from, that we might work with other people in a space. So that was kind of it. And then, to be honest, when people ask this question, I usually just say that it was actually the building that kind of dictated what the Joinery has become. It was empty for about 3 years before us, but I guess we started pre-recession, in the sense that it wasn't one of those empty buildings. It was actually quite unusual that this building had been empty for 3 years, and it was a Joinery, hence the name. We couldn't think beyond that. But yeah, it was always used as a workshop, kind of for Joinery. So when we kind of took the building, it was pretty rough. I mean, it's still rough, but this is fancy compared to what it was once upon a time. And we had to do a lot of work. Like, we did about 3 months of kind of renovations, and we had a friend who's a builder who really kind of helped us out with that. I suppose firstly we like to see kind of a connection between the visual art and the music, that there is a kind of correlation between the two, and there's not one over here and one over there. So like there's a lot more music events on than there are other things, and I suppose it's just because they're sort of one-off things, and exhibitions tend to last a bit longer. But I would say, like, recently in the last year or two, the gallery is very much influenced by the what goes on in the backspace, which is the music. So if I were to kind of sum it up, I'd say that we're interested in kind of performance and events, and some of those events could be kind of 3 or 4 days, or could be an exhibition, but mostly it's performance-based stuff, events, talks, screenings, and all that kind of stuff. So it's kind of heavily influenced by the nature of sort of improvisation and that kind of thing.
I mean, that's something that we look for when we're planning the music, is something that's kind of has an element of improvisation or experimentation, and added to would it suit the venue downstairs, and how well it will work. Like, I mean, we are trying to cross over more between the gallery, and we had that talk with a few sound artists and a visual artist about improvisation and the nature, and had that in the gallery as opposed to in the performance space. And while they were improvising with electronics and acoustics, and I think something like that we're very interested in, as opposed to just putting on a regular gig.
Yeah. The kind of fine line between the two things, I suppose, isn't it? Sound, art and music.
I mean, there's other events we put on, like the radio listening night, which is, again, it is kind of somewhat improvised as well, because you might not, there's part of it is people, submit bits of radio documentaries that they want to listen to, and it might be a whole mix of different things on the night, and everyone sits down as a group and listens to it and discusses it. And while we don't really do that with music, but it's something that we could be incorporated into that as well.
Yeah, I suppose it takes quite a long time to realise kind of what you are, because the years go by and you're just doing stuff all the time, and then you have to kind of reflect every now and again, and I suppose I'm more confident now to say what it is we do and what we're kind of interested in, and like collaboration is a big thing, that kind of experimentation slash improvisation, so that open to things not working out, not being kind of final and completed, that there's an openness there that things can fail as well. And then the other thing is kind of public and community, so audience, like what an audience is, and that might be like the idea of the radio listening thing that Will was talking about. it's kind of unusual to sit down in a room with a bunch of people and not watch something. You know, you're actually sitting there kind of listening together, and it does give a sense of kind of a community kind of activity of people doing something together.
Nachts um 2 Uhr.
At 2 in the morning, the first copper ingot is fed into a furnace,
Und dann immer runter.
and more go down that flaming belly,
Mit dem Zinn zusammen
together with the tin. 7,500 weight,
die Glockenspeise.
bell metal, bronze.
Es ist soweit.
The moment's arrived.
Die rote Suppe
The red
kocht jetzt
roux is turned yellowish white,
1120.
1120 degrees.
16 Glocken.
16 bells will be cast this morning.
Die Geburt
We've kind of got sporadic Arts Council funding over the years, bits and pieces here and there. It's really unreliable, and we just hit we didn't get it the last couple of years, and I think we were kind of holding out to get it this time, and we didn't. So it was kind of a shock, and we had kind of an emergency situation in which we would have closed down if we didn't do something. So we decided to do the funded thing, and I guess it was a kind of a risk because it was quite a lot of money, wasn't it, to ask for?
I think we were really happy, really surprised by the response. Like, I mean, it just showed, like, it just felt like we have a much bigger audience than we thought we did. Like, because you might be some shows where there's only 20 people here, like, but yeah, people really got behind it, and I think it was because there was a real consequence. Like, we would have closed. Like, there was no way of getting around that. If we didn't have the money for the year, we would have closed. And it's given us a lot of space to look at new ways of doing things. And I think definitely, you know, philanthropy is going to have to play a big part in the future of spaces like this.